Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mid-County Fire Protection District. I'll be your instructor today, Division Chief Johnson, and we'll be talking about the ins and outs of an effective public education program. So, just a few things before we get started. I want to go over the safety of the room, or if we catch an emergency. We got two exits here. This exit here leads you to the hallway. That exit there, both of them will lead you to a stairwell outside. During the breaks, we'll take a 10-minute break every hour. During those breaks, if you go downstairs, we have a vending machine, and if you need to smoke, we'll do so outside of that front door. So, to get us started, we're going to do some introductions of the class. And how we're going to do those introductions is I'm going to split you up into groups of two, and we're going to introduce each other. So we're going to take 5 minutes and learn something about each other. Find out a unique fact or a fun fact about your partner. I also want to know their name, the department that they're with, and how long they've been in the service, and why they got into the service. So, if you guys want to go ahead, we'll split up into groups of two. Take 5 minutes, get those that information, and then we'll bring you up and have you introduce each other to the class. Sound good?
Yes.
Almost 4 years, right?
Like altogether, person?
No, you've been fire for 7. 8 now. 7. Yeah. And, oh, you have an obsession with pink.
Okay, yeah, I guess. My
You
favorite
love-
color is
Yeah.
what's my favorite thing to do now?
Favorite thing to do? There's a lot of things you love to do. This is Jade. She works at Mid County. She likes finding shark teeth on the beach, and she's been in the fire service around 4 months. She joined because of a house fire when she was younger.
This is Ben. He's also with Mid County. He's been in the fire service for about 5 months. He likes riding bikes, and he got into the fire service because of his dad.
This is Lucas Cole. He's been in the fire service for 4 years, 3 with Tunis Fire, and then about a year with Mid County. He likes to restore old pickups. He's got a 7.3 that he brings into work, and he's in the middle of restoring right now.
This is Keg. He's from the county fire. He's been in fire service for 2 years, both at Mid County. Fun fact, he's about to have a kid soon, next couple months. And the reason he got in the fire service is because his father-in-law was an Osage Beach firefighter.
Next group.
You wanna go first, Clay, or you want me to go first?
Yep, I can go first.
Okay.
This is Ty Ann Ames. She works for Mid County. She's been in the fire service for 7 years. She joined it because the fire service because someone told her she couldn't do it, and she has an obsession with Legos and the color pink.
Yep. This is Clay, or Clayton Campbell, but we call him Clay. He's one of our firefighters here in Mid County. He's been here for 2 years. He got into the fire service because he loves adrenaline, so he likes the adrenaline rush we get when you run calls. He's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. He also loves chunky, fat, fluffy dogs. He has a bulldog as his own dog. That's his favorite. Yeah, that's Clay.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Again, my name is Division Chief Johnson. I also work for Mid County Fire Protection District as the training officer. I've been in the fire service for going on 18 years now, and I got in the fire service to help people on their worst days. So to be a part of something bigger than myself. So with that, I've got some student manuals for you guys so you guys can follow along during the class. So I'll get those passed out. So these are your guys, so you guys can take notes or write anything you'd like. Yeah, just got my notes down. Alright, so now that we've got those introductions complete, we'll go ahead and get started. So you guys got your student manuals in front of you. Like I said, if you guys want to go through there, make notes on the class, just follow along. So the objectives of the class. So by the end of the class, able to arrange the 5 steps of the planning process, and the student will be able to choose the proper definition of the different teaching methods and strategies. So, the 3 E's of the fire prevention. The first E, engineering. So, intervention used to change the structures, products, or the processes. So if you just think of engineering as you have a project or a goal, like how are you gonna modify that? How are you going to build that structure? Is the engineering process. Enforcement, the creation and adoption of the codes and the ordinances. Once you have enforcement in place, then it requires compliance. So that's what our fire marshal division does, where we have our codes and our ordinances in place for our districts, and it is their job to go out and make sure those codes are being followed. Education, the process of preventing or altering specific unsafe behaviors. Effort to produce design behavior and raises awareness, imparts information and knowledge. That's a big thing of what the fire prevention office does, is getting out in the community and putting information and knowledge out there about what we do, what we can do for them.
So does that will that help us as far as like when we go to get, like raises on our, like every year when we go to vote and stuff, will that, them being out in the public and kind of educating them, like do you think that will help?
Yeah,
The
for like
department.
a tax levy, like if we
Yeah.
went for a tax levy
Yeah.
increase, yeah, absolutely. So the more that we're in the public, the more we can get that information out to them, but they also then see what we do, what we
Right.
can do for the community. Yeah, anything positive that we're doing in the community is gonna work in our benefit in the future. If we need, a tax levy increase, or you just wanna get a program out there in the community, being out there involved with them, definitely makes them feel comfortable, and it's good just to be out there in the community so they know who you are,
Right.
who's coming when they need help.
That's because I feel like a lot of people don't see how much, like, behind the scenes, that's what I always get told, is like, we don't really see you guys unless you're running lights and sirens.
Right.
So, other than, specific community events, but they don't realize how much actually goes on behind the scenes too.
Right. But again, the 3 E's, so it's just kinda reinforcing that last slide, is the, engineering is just, the goal of the engineering is to ensure that everyone follows the principles. So one way they do it, what they're looking for is like the use of fire resistant materials, and that they adhere to the OSHA standards. So, they take a beam in a building and the engineer figures out what's it gonna take for that beam not to catch fire. So, or does it need to be, fire resistant? So, depending on the class that your building's gonna be. education side, again, educating, the public on the fire prevents, means giving systematic instruction and guidance about fire issues. So one of the big things about the fire prevention side, and that is knowing our history, knowing why we are doing what we're doing. So the fires that affected the fire prevention. So everything we do, there's a reason behind why we do it, you know. So this is the best way to figure out for fire prevention. So the Great Chicago Fire, I think everybody's probably heard of the Great Chicago Fire, but did you know that the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire is during October, and that's when we go out for Fire Prevention Week. So that's one of the things that it brought was the Fire Prevention Week. So the next one, the Iroquois Theater Fire. So this fire was, after the theater was built, it was only open for 1 month before this fire happened. It was said to be absolutely fireproof, and it's just a safe structure. And like I said, 1 month after it was open, there was a bin in there with a lot of women and children in, and a fire caught a curtain. It was a spark, caught a curtain on fire, and nobody really knew what to do. 602 people died, and like 250 were injured. So code changes that came about because of this fire was outward opening exit doors. So everybody got to the door, they were inward swinging, and they just got bottlenecked right there, and nobody could get through. So doors must remain unlocked and fitted with panic hardware. Again, one of the doors was locked. So if you go to a gas station or a restaurant or something, they got the double doors on the front. Those are always supposed to remain unlocked. So one of the things we do is, if you find a door that's one side's locked, then obviously if there was a fire or everybody had to escape quickly, that would cause the group to bottleneck at that door. So one of the things that came out of that was both doors have to be unlocked at all times. And then exit lighting, fire sprinklers, fire alarms, and the flame resistant scenery, props, and curtains. So in the theater area, before this fire, you could just put up curtains or whatever you wanted to put in there in the backdrop. So because of this fire, then the curtains, all your materials and everything have to be flame resistant, and they have rules on what you can put on the stage and decorations, and that came from this fire. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire, how many people have heard of that one? You've heard of that one? So when that fire, 146 people died, and the code changes that came from that fire was that whole fire inspired the creation of NFPA 101, and that's the enforcement of codes. The stairwells and elevators are now fireproofed in the shafts. That fireproof. That's where your best chance of survival is going to be. Escape routes cannot be blocked. Again, around the exit door, there has to be 3 foot of clearance, and that's one of the reasons why. And then fire drills. Coconut Grove nightclub fire. I think a lot of people have heard of this one. 492 people died. The code changes that came from it was remote means of egress and revolving doors, not considered means of egress. No combustible decorations and emergency lighting. So on this particular fire, they had the revolving doors at the entrances and exit, and everybody just kind of got there, started to go through it, and got stuck right there. So basically the same thing, they bottlenecked right there, nobody could get through, and a lot of people died right there at the exit. So no combustible decorations hanging, and make sure that there's emergency lighting that we still have today. The Our Ladies of the Angels School Fire, December 1st, 1958. If you haven't heard of this fire, this one's a good one to look up and just learn the history from it. This changed a lot in the fire service. 92 students died and 3 nuns. So on this fire, they all sheltered in place, and that was their rule. If they had a fire in the building, they were just to shelter in the classroom with the students and wait. And that's exactly what they did. And again, 92 students died and 3 nuns died. So the code changes that came from this was to enclose all vertical passageways with non-combustible construction. So in that fire, as the smoke filled different areas through the vent shafts, they just had airways in the classrooms that just would move air around, and then classrooms just filled up with smoke. So no transoms over the door. The automatic building alarm system. Subdivide the hallways greater than 300 feet in length. And like I said again, that smoke just moved through the whole building. So now we're gonna divide things off. We got the alarm systems, and there's no way to have the transoms over the top of the door to where that's gonna allow that to come in. Limit schoolroom occupancy and monthly fire drills. So our fire marshal's office goes to the schools every single month and does fire drills at all the schools. And that's just to make sure that everybody knows what to do when that alarm goes off, and make sure that the faculty can get the kids out and have accountability for them. Usually those fire drills take about 3 minutes to get everybody out and accounted for. So that is one of the reasons or the biggest reason we do monthly fire drills. The MGM Grand Hotel fire, November 21st, 1980. 64 people died. And the code changes that came from that one is retrofitting for sprinkler systems in resorts of Nevada. So the MGM Grand was an older casino, and when the new codes, it was grandfathered in, so it didn't need the sprinkler system. And as you can see, the fire started on the exterior of the building and just built from there. Station nightclub fire, February 20th, 2003. This one, if you haven't seen the videos of this, you can still find YouTube videos of this fire, or look it up and study this one. This one, 100 people died, and the code changes that came from that one was automatic sprinklers for assemblies with an occupancy over 100 people. So, in this one, they had a lot of the same issues as that everybody got bottlenecked at the entrance. And like I said, you can find YouTube videos on this fire, but this one's another one that pyrotechnics on the stage caught the curtains and stuff that's around it on fire. The fire grew and consumed the building very quickly with smoke, and everybody got stuck at all the exits. So, so a lot of people died and a lot were injured.
Wasn't it also that they didn't have like the exit signs on the, so everybody like came in the front door, so then once they panicked, they tried
They
to
went
leave to
back
the front door instead of like going to the closest exit?
Yes. Yeah, that's why at the beginning of the class or at the beginning of any event in a facility, they will tell you, here's where your exits are, because it's just human nature that you're gonna go back the same way you came. So if you came in that door, when an emergency happens, you're gonna try to go back out that same door, because that's the way you came in. Especially under a panic situation, you're not gonna look around. You might not take the time to look around and see there's a whole exit right there that you can get out of. So this section we'll get into the domains of learning. So first domain of learning is the cognitive domain, and that's where your mental skills and where your knowledge. Affective is your feelings or your emotions and the areas and attitude. Psychomotor, the manual or physical skills. A lot of us are psychomotor learners, so we want to do hands-on. So cognitive is the learning ability to process that information. So if you're going to read it and just pick it right up and process that information. Building your knowledge, being able to apply that. The affective domain is your attitude and your feelings that are a result of the learning process. So are you receiving the information? Can you respond to it? Your organizing skills and characterizing. Psychomotor is the learner's ability to use their motor skills to learn. So again, that's your perception, the mechanism, complex, response, adaptation. So like I said, most of us in the fire service are psychomotor learners. So you take, I can sit in the classroom all day long and listen, but if you take me downstairs and show me what to do and let me put my hands on that skill, I'm gonna pick it up. So that's the psychomotor side.
So is that why like some of the programs that we have for, like I know fire marshal goes and reads to some of the kids and stuff like that, and then we have during our fire prevention like more hands-on stuff. Are we just trying to reach every kid that learns differently as well?
Yeah, so we'll break that down here coming up. But yeah, you can't just do to teach one specific way, because not everybody's gonna learn it. So yeah, you want to put in as many different ways that they could possibly learn as possible to make sure you reach as many people as possible.
Gotcha.
So the learners come to all situations processing information through each of these domains. So for the cognitive, like the get low and go or crawl under the smoke, is a message that can be taught utilizing all three domains of learning. So that one there, you're going to tell them, but they also get to do it. So that's a very effective way to get them to understand and to remember it. It's just to let them actually do it. So the cognitive, again, is required to understand that the smoke and the heat rises. Therefore, the learner needs to stay low and crawl under the smoke to safety. The psychomotor part of that is required to practice the act of crawling low enough to remain under the smoke. The affective, required to understand why the learning how to escape from a fire, including the emotional impacts of not being able to escape from the fire. So if you put all three of those together, the chances of them remembering that is going to be way higher than if you just told them or read it to them. So putting all those steps together, letting them actually do the hands-on part or practicing it, the chances of them remembering that goes way up. Blum's taxonomy. So with this one, let's see, is one of the most easily understood and most widely applied theories by the academic world. Learners come into all situations processing information through each of these three domains. Blum's taxonomy spans a range of cognitive abilities ranging from lower to higher order, thinking including knowledge, comprehension, application, analyze sentences, and evaluation. In the create section is where we're going to produce new or original work. So that's the design, the simple construction of the idea. Evaluate is just justify and stand for a decision. Analyzing is just that draws connection among ideas. Apply, use information in new situations, execute, implement, and solve. Understand, explain ideas or concepts, classify, describe, discuss. And remembering is the recalling facts or basic concepts, being able to define them, list them, memorize them. So 3 learning styles. Learning styles are preferred ways for learning. Each way of learning concentrates, processes, absorbs, and retains new and different information. So auditory learners learn through listening. So those are people that can just sit in a room, listen, and pick it up. Visual learners learn through just seeing, but tactical or kinesthetic learners learn by touching and doing. So again, what most people they need the hands-on part of the skill to actually learn it and be able to remember it. So the 3 types of messages. Prevention message, if it is predictable, it is preventable. Prevention should be the core of the message delivery and should go off of each community's needs. If your community is fighting a lot of fires without smoke alarms, then your prevention messaging should be about having working smoke alarms or changing the batteries. So first message is that reaction message. The learner learns the correct reactions of the emergency situation, stop, drop, and roll. Put a lid on the pan for a grease fire. So you teach them that way, they're gonna remember that. Letting them actually go out and like demonstrate, instead of you just telling them that you go, when you get a grease fire, you're gonna cover it up. You're not gonna add water to it. You're not gonna do it. It's just gonna spread it. But letting them actually put their hands on it and practicing putting a lid on something, then they're gonna remember. The chances are higher that they'll remember that. Messages need to be repeated so they become second nature to allow the desired reaction to more likely occur during that emergency. Preparedness message, the learner takes responsibility to be prepared to handle everyday emergencies. So, an example like CPR cannot be performed successfully without the training. The odds of escaping from a fire decrease without family planning. Quick and effective calling for help is impossible without knowing the emergency number to call. So all age levels can learn at some level of preparedness. So we'll get into explaining the different age levels and what they can be taught at those ages. So for preschoolers, children younger than the age of 5, they are active, they're curious, and they do not have the intellectual capacity to understand potential dangers. Do not have the physical ability to escape from fires independently. But they are active, they're wanting to do something, and they're curious about what you're doing and what you're talking about. So they still can learn from you. Stay away from, so messages that you can give them at that age group is stay away from hot things. They can understand that when you say don't touch that, it's hot. They can comprehend that they should not touch something. If you're in a car, they understand that once you put your seatbelt on, you stay in your seatbelt. So that message is, once I'm buckled, I stay buckled. They can understand to stay away from pools, lakes, bathtubs, unless they're supervised by an adult. So they can understand. The reaction messages for the age group: stop, drop, and roll. Get out and stay out, and know a smoke alarm sound and what to do when it sounds. So if you've ever gone with fire marshal to like the daycares and stuff, this is one thing she does. She always takes the smoke alarm, lets them see it, passes it around, lets them touch it. We do the stop, drop, and roll with them, and then they get out and stay out. But she always sounds the smoke alarm and lets them hear the sound. That way when they hear it at home, they know what that sound is, and they know that that means they need to exit the residence. Prepared messages for the age group: firefighters are helpers. So that's why we put our gear on. Let them come up to us, touch us in our gear, just let us see that we're not scary. if we were to be at their house, they don't have to hide from us. They can come up to us where they're helpers, we're friends. So that's why we do those things. Talk to mom and dad about safety, have smoke alarms and test them monthly. So we give that information out to them that make sure your parents are checking the smoke alarms at home, make sure they make this noise, and if they don't, that they can call the fire department and we will come help them.
So do we have programs where we will like go and check people's fire alarms, smoke detectors for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So along with our smoke alarm program that we have, if somebody was to call in and just say, my smoke alarm's not working, or I believe I haven't changed the batteries for a couple years, yeah, we will go out to their house and test them for them and change the batteries if they have them for us.
Okay.
We will assist them with that.
Do we provide anyone any smoke detectors at all, or is it just a matter of trying to change the batteries and then?
No, we have a program and we have smoke detectors here. So if people want to fill out the information and contact us, we'll take care of them. We'll get the smoke alarms, go out to their house, sit down with them, and figure out an escape plan for them. We'll just have that to go over with them, and we'll actually install the smoke alarms for them in their residence. So most of the ones we do are the 10-year battery ones, so that once they're up, they don't have to worry about them. So elementary age children, this is ages 5 to 9. Those children are more independent, inquisitive and imaginative, and eager to learn and anxious to please. Prevention messages for that age group is matches and lighter safety. So they understand that don't play with a lighter, don't play with matches. And they can understand the reasoning behind that. Electrical safety, as in, don't put something in an electrical outlet. Home hazards, things to look for in your home that might be unsafe, and burns. Reaction messages for the age group is call 911, stop, drop, and roll, and fire drills, alarms in other places, and exits marked with other places, and kitchen safety. Prepare messages for the age group, home emergency telephone list, and escape planning. So again, if you go to the school with the fire marshal, then she always hits on these things. Then make sure they know what number to call when they have an emergency, and make sure that their family has an escape plan and a meeting place for the family. Secondary audience for same messages would be teachers, grandparents, coaches, church leaders, and youth advisors. Those are all good messages for not only that age group, but many others. So if you guys want, before we continue, we'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break, and then we'll meet back in here at 40 hours.
Yeah, she really wants to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 of them. I'll scan them in and send them to my email so I can have it all online.
get started again. So, where we left off with adolescence. So, adolescents, ages 10 to 17 years old. At this age, these guys are going to be a little bit more of risk takers. They're heavily influenced by their peers. They're capable of abstract thinking, and they're understanding serious consequences. So prevention messages for this age group is the power of fire and the realities of burns. They're going to comprehend that if you play with fire, this is what's going to happen. They're thinking more of on their own, which they're more independent than they've been in their life. They're not feeling like they need mom and dad right there with them. Boating and driving. So, at that age, they're either getting ready to get their driver's license or they have their driver's license. So that whole independent thing, they're just kind of in that mindset. Some of them might be babysitting their younger brothers and sisters, or maybe have a little side job doing babysitting. So, being able to get a hold of them, especially for the fire safety side or the emergency side, and getting that in their head is what we want to do if we can. So reaction messages of that age group is first aid, fire escapes, and fire extinguishers. Pull to the right for siren and lights. So, like I said, especially if they're babysitting or whatever, you want to get that message out to them about first aid, about CPR, what to do if there was a fire, make sure they escape, and possibly, if they needed to use a fire extinguisher, to make sure they know how to do that. And then obviously if they're driving, to make sure they understand, pull to the right for sirens and lights. Prepare messages for the age group is the home and emergency first aid kits, babysitting kids, the CPR, first aid, and the driving. Secondary audience for these messages is still good for parents, teachers, school administrators, counselors, employees, coaches, or church groups. So adults. Adults defined as 18 to 64 years of age. They're the hardest people to reach and key to providing safe environments for their family. Why does anyone think they're the hardest people to reach? You guys come up. 18 to 64.
Because there's not really they're not in school anymore, in large groups.
Yeah, they're they might not be coming to certain events and stuff. I think also they're kind of in that mindset, I'm an adult, I'm not listening, so I do kind of what I want to do. So, but they are the key to providing a safe environment for their families and their homes, so those people also need to be reached. Prevention messages for this age group is the science and realities of fire in the burns. Alcohol use and fire and emergency injury incidents, candle safety, outdoor safety, heating and electrical equipment safety. Heating and electrical safety is space heaters. Using a space heater in your home, do you know how to do it? Making sure that they know how to do that. Electrical safety would be like plugging, 5 cords into one outlet. Making sure they understand the consequences of doing those things if they do. Candles, same thing as a space heater, making sure if you're using a candle that you have a good space around it, and that you actually put it out when you're done with it. Reaction messages for the age group: escaping from a fire, CPR, kids playing with fire, and calling 911. So at that age, it's their responsibility probably to get their family out of the house if it was smoking or on fire. So again, getting their family out, calling 911, getting help. Prepared messages for the age group. It's the home safety checklist, smoke alarms, CO alarms, residential sprinklers, or family emergency planning. So those are things we'd like to talk to that age group about. And just making sure that they're prepared for an emergency if they have one. So older adults, 65 and older. Social and physical isolation. So those people aren't just readily available to you, coming to groups or meetings that you can just give them the information. So makes it a little bit tricky to how do you get the information to them. Prevention messages for the age group. As they're getting older, slips and falls is a big one for that age group. Cooking, home design, and home safety, and medication safety. So slips and falls are obvious. They're not going to be as sturdy and balanced as they was when they were younger. So just making sure that they have clear walkways, what to do if they trip and fall. Cooking, so they might not cook as much as they used to, but if they are in the kitchen, they're making sure that they have make sure their stoves are turned off and those things. Home design and home safety, so especially if they're living in a home that they've been in for a long time. They got a bunch of stairs, or let's say carpets, stuff. So just going and educating them on that as far as when you're going up and down the stairs, make sure they have railings to help them balance, or slips and falls. All the little area rugs that might be slick on the floor, those things, just kind of giving them that education. Medication safety, we see this a lot with medical runs. How many people maybe forget that if they took their medication in the morning, or they double up on their medication for the day. So just talking to them about a good way, like the little medication planners, just giving them some different ways that they can safely manage their own medication. Reaction messages for the age group: stop, drop, and roll. Cool a burn and other first aid, calling 911. Prepare messages for the group: know the plan and practice it. File or vial of life, and testing smoke alarms. So even though they might be in the same house, it might just be something that gets complacent to them, that they haven't checked their smoke alarms in a few years, or that's the age group where they might call in and say, hey, I don't know if my smoke alarms work or not, and we'll go out there and test those batteries for them, replacing if they need them. They also, if they have smoke alarms that are on ceilings that they can't reach, they can't climb on the ladders anymore, we'll go out there and take care of that for them. So we'd rather go out there and do that for them and then have them go fall or something from a ladder. So secondary audience for this information: children, neighbors, physicians, homeowners association, and churches. So high-risk groups within the fire safety education. So who's at high risk? Those who cannot take life-saving actions in a timely manner in the event of a fire. Generally, that is your young children 5 years of age or younger, or an adult 65 years of age or older, or people with disabilities. Those are all people who, if an emergency happened, they're not going to be able to get up and immediately handle that emergency. Under 5 years of age, they might not understand that, and age of 65 and older just may not be able to, get out of a house very quickly if they needed to. And then obviously people with disabilities, that's going to make it harder for them if they're wheelchair bound or have any other issues that's going to hinder their escape. So factors that increase the risk level, population segments, social, cultural, and economic status, gender, cultural, language, communication barriers. These must all be considered when planning to address the population's risk. Well, if you've got a heavy population of, let's say, just different language barrier, that I'm going to need to make sure that I have someone who can communicate that information to them so that they get as much out of the program as possible. So America Burning, how many people have heard of the book America Burning? So if you haven't, that is something that would be really good to actually look up and read. So America Burning was published in 1973, and it identified the need for fire safety education. So in 1977, the National Fire Prevention and Control Administration published the Public Fire Education Planning, the 5 steps process. With that, it was used to successfully help public educators to develop and implement programs in the community. In 2008, the U.S. Fire Administration published an update version of the system with the same principles. The fire step process is a model that walks educators through the systems. The 5 steps used to determine the most serious fire and injury problems in their community, identifies community partners, design and implement a program, evaluate the effectiveness of your program, and then answer for each educator as where do I begin? That's always a question. People got an idea of something they might need, but where do you begin? So, step 1, conduct a community risk analysis assessment. So you're going to identify the fire and life safety problems and the demographic characteristics of the greatest risk in your community. Demographics is selected population used in the government and social sciences for statistical purposes, and those things are age, gender, race, income, education, marital status, and their location. So it's tedious and time-consuming steps, but vital steps in the 5-step process. It ensures you are hitting an indent target. Community demographics change over time, so you may need to periodically revisit where you started and make any adjustments if needed. So identify the data to be analyzed. So figure out the lead cause of the risk, Begin to obtain national, state, and local data for comparison. Identify the types of incidents, root factors leading to the incidents. How often do they occur? The location, when it's happened, the cost, injuries, lives lost, and the frequency. Well, the big one's the frequency of the incident you're studying, and how often. Basically, is the frequency and the cost of it, but figuring out if that's something that your community would need, and then you can compare it to other data from another community, and that putting all that data together.
So, as far as the data, are they pulling this from like calls that we've run? So they're looking at the volume of certain calls that we run, and that's how they're getting the data for what's possibly.
Yeah, I mean, you're
needed.
looking for any data that's got a trending, that you can, pull that trend from. So that's like the frequency of it, if it's happening a lot, if it's worth, putting the time and effort into, developing a program. You might find out that it happens, but it's not enough,
Priority.
to, make it the priority thing. The root factors of what's leading to the incidents, it might be just, something simple that you don't need a whole process for. So developing a community risk profile. So the profile is an overview of the community, the demographic description, demographic distribution of high-risk populations, brief description of the particular fire and injury risk issues, public perception of the problem, myths about the problem, and resources currently available to address those issues. So we want to figure out what our problem is, how we're going to get the information that we collect out to those people, and then public perception of the problem. Like, do you think it's a problem, and does your public agree that that's a problem and something that needs to be addressed? And then find out, before you do all the work, find out if there's already resources available that maybe they just ain't getting, or what resources you can add to that if needed. So write a problem statement. So your problem statement provides information about the identified risk and who is affected by the problem. So that's based on your data that was collected, and will include your proposal for fixing the problem. Prioritize issues. So it's a challenging step. All risks are important, but not all can be tackled at one time. Need a well-rounded picture. So identify your target areas and the population. Well, some population types have a disproportionately higher rate of morbidity or mortality. National data start to look at the higher risk populations, and each community has its own unique populations and risk. Develop community partnerships. So it takes a village to raise a child. We've all heard that. Everybody can't do it alone. So when other agencies and organizations joins, they can bring expertise, experience, insight, perspective, and resources. Resources can range from financial support, donated talents, and professional services. So you want to find try to identify your possible partners that will work on this with you. So anyone willing to work towards the same goal, anyone with a vested interest in the projects, anyone who believes in the mission, and develop a coalition. That is an alliance of individuals or organization of representatives from different interests who cooperate in a joint action for the common cause. So you want to go out and take your issue that you're going to solve and find like-minded people that have the same goal and making sure that's completed. Those are the people that you're going to want to partner with or have on your team. Interpret the community risk and the problems. Educate all members about the problem and the goals. Form a community planning team. So you're going to utilize the members from your step 2, action 1, which is the like-minded people who have the same goal as you, and approach them to join your team. Ask for suggestions about anyone else they might think would be interested or needed to fulfill the planning team. So if you add somebody to your team, they might know somebody who could also join the team. So make that better or bring something else to the table. Create an intervention strategy. Let the work begin. So goal is to create an all-inclusive, well-rounded plan of attack. So intervention strategies. Review the data about risk and target populations. So your whole team's going to review the problem statement that you wrote, the community profile, and supporting the data. New members might be able to provide new insight. After review, develop a goal statement. So restate the current problem, identify the desired outcome and changes, initiative that you'll achieve. The outcome should be measurable and observable with assigned timelines and benchmarks. So let's make sure that as you're putting this together that you set yourself some benchmarks and some timelines. That way you can make sure that you're staying on track individually and as a team. Identify the places for the intervention. So analyze the sequence of events leading up to the undesired behavior. Provide information about most useful places to intervene. Which members can most effectively contribute to the positive changes. Identify target populations and locations. So we're going to look more closely at where the populations work, lives, plays, go to schools, attend churches, and we're going to conduct market research if possible to get everyone to understand about the problem. Identify interventions. So going back to the 3 E's of prevention. The education, engineering, and enforcement. So rare that any one of these 3 E's are effective without the other 2. But you kind of think of this as the fire triangle. If you take out one piece, we lose the fire, right? So if you take away education, then how are you going to enforce it? How are we going to get prevention? So you need all 3 pieces to make it work. Identify resources required. Key points to keep in mind. Be realistic, but think big. Be creative. Be willing to research options and new technologies. resources come in many forms other than financial support. Consult members of the community to ensure materials are usable, sensitive to the target audience, cultural, age group appropriate, and religious groups. So, if you're sharing information, then you gotta remember that age group thing, and is your information that you're gonna be sharing, gonna be received by the age group you're sharing it with. A lot of people have cultural differences, that maybe the way they grew up, or maybe their religious beliefs, that you just gotta be sensitive to the way that you're giving them that information. So keep your eye on the prize, focus on your message. Do not forget off-the-shelf curricula, presentations, handouts, and other resources available. Do not reinvent the wheel. So, if you can give them handouts, or send out mailers, then, it's a good way to make those things available to, especially those like older, 65 and older people. They might not wanna come into a meeting, but if you can send them something in the mail that they check their mail every day, they'll be able to get that information. And like I said, do not reinvent the wheel. There's probably already a way to go about your problem. You might just find it and need to modify it. Develop the evaluation strategy. And that is how you will know if the goal has been obtained. That step is often overlooked. Should measure the impact of the initiative and not the step that the evaluation takes place. So, like I said, with the benchmarks and the timelines, make sure you have something that you can see if your goal's even being attained or being met. If it's not, then you need to revise. So implementing the strategy, time to launch the strategy. So begin with the pilot program, carefully designed effort developed after an initial period of study and planning offered to a limited and competitive segment of the population. Serves as a tentative model for the future development. Then you want to have an action plan, a simple list of the tasks, responsible parties, and the deadlines that need to be carried out. Conduct pilot or intervention, revise as necessary. So, check out on your target audience, make sure you're hitting the people that you're intended to. Team will evaluate the success and the failures. So just make sure, again, those benchmarks that you're revising if you're not hitting what you need. So if it's a success, you keep going. If it's a failure, we start back full boot. Establish responsibilities and timetable of activities. Do not list for to-do list for the members of the team. So market intervention program. So this is going to be the ways that we get the information out to our target audience. So local media, direct mailing, community organizational newsletters, websites, meetings, town council presentations, and time to recognize those community partners. So however you got to get the information out, there's, in today's world, there's hundreds of different ways to get it out, whether it's gonna be on social media, putting it in a newspaper, direct mailing to the person's residence, community organizations. If you can go out to, let's say, the Rotary Club and talk to them and say, hey, I got a presentation over fire prevention. I'd like to come to one of your meetings and present that to your members. A lot of times they will have no issues with you doing that. Being on the radio, sometimes you can get with the radio and during their morning show or something, they'll give you 5 minutes to get on there and advertise or just speak about something. So there's a lot of different ways to get the messages out. Just make sure that you're hitting it. Like if you put it, like, let's say, only in a newspaper, not everybody's reading a newspaper today. So you're not going to be able to get, you might not hit all your target audience. So initiating the activities. Monitor the progress. Again, if you monitor, evaluate the action plan and the program, adjustments can be made and noted. So report progress periodically. Evaluate the results. The role of the evaluation is to see the objectives were met. Collect the data. Revisit step 1, action 1. Conduct a community risk analysis. Ensure the evaluation is measurable or is measuring to the same data as step 1, action 1. And all survey questions shall be unbiased and objective. So you'll hear that over and over, just always reevaluating and making sure that you're achieving your goal. Compare data with the baseline data. So impact benchmarks represent measurable improvement in the community knowledge, attitudes, and opinions regarding the risk. Process benchmarks, so set a standard for the evaluating and the effectiveness of the outreach program. How many presentations were delivered and how many support materials were distributed. So make sure you keep track of everything you're doing. If you've gone to those different places and organizations and you delivered presentations, keep track of that. And if you've distributed materials, like we talked about, with different ways that you can do that, keep track of that, how you did it. If you sent out flyers, like I sent out 1,000 flyers, I should have been able to hit roughly 1,000 households. Like I said, if you're able to get on a radio station or something, see how many listeners that maybe they had that morning, and just keep track of how you're doing it. No interventions as necessary. Monitor any progress being made. Ongoing notes be made regarding any positive strides during the process. Modify interventions as necessary, expanding audience or getting other departments involved. So if you're maybe not hitting your demographic as you wanted, we can revisit that step 1 and finding a partnership. Go back and revise that. So maybe we can get other departments involved, other groups, or people that could possibly help us achieve our goals. So report results to the sponsoring organizations and communities. So it's important to share with the planning team. So it's being transparent and making sure everybody's on the same page. So if you're the one that's in charge of distribution of the material, making sure the whole team knows what you're doing and if it's working or not. That way you have that constant input from each other. Talk about revisions possibly needed. Again, if, you know, the team feels that maybe we need to look at doing this a different way, just be open to those revisions. Anyone who contributed to the matter, should be apprised of the final outcome of the community effort. So it doesn't matter if one of your partners just financially assisted you, or maybe they just give you some supplies, but just make sure anybody who had anything in the project is let know what the outcome of the community effort was. So that'll also help you in the future if you decided to do another project. Make sure, you know, you could go to that same person and say, hey, I got a new project, you helped us last time. Just them feeling like, okay, I give to this project, it was successful. I know it was successful. It will probably help them want to help you again. And make sure that, like, especially if it was a financial donation, that they know that their money went to actually reaching the community. So after you've completed all that, you've got through your analysis, you've met the need to the community, it's time to start over from the beginning. So the different types of teaching methods and strategies. Best teaching includes a variety of methods and strategies. Decisions of what strategies to use should depend on time available, the number of students, the objectives of the lesson, type of information to be presented, availability of the material and the resources, domains of learning levels needed, personal preference of the instructor. Most teachers tend to teach the way they learn best. So the lecture is the most common form of education. Allows the educator to deliver and clarify a large amount of information in the group in a short amount of time. Lecture with discussion. So it's similar to the straight lecture, except in the straight lecture, that's just the educator doing the speaking. And the lecture with discussion allows for more active learning on the part of the audience, as they are encouraged to ask questions or make suggestions at the end of the lecture or at various points. Panel of experts, a way to disseminate information similar to a lecture, allows several experts to present different opinions and viewpoints, provokes a better discussion. So discussion, learners are as much part of the presentation as the instructor. The instructor's role shifts to a facilitator and will engage the affective domain. The affective domain is the emotional domain to it, and the more you can get somebody involved in that discussion or in that topic, the better that's going to be for them. Not recommended for groups larger than 20 people. So the span of control for an instructor is, we say 20. After 20, you kind of get a little bit out there. So if you've got that, breaking people down into small groups, then you can do the small group discussions. So for small group discussions, this provides more engagement and interaction. Some people feel more comfortable in smaller groups and will become more verbal. So if we have a large audience that we're asking students to speak in front of, they most likely will not participate. But if you break them down into smaller groups and say they only have to talk in front of 5 or 10 people, they're more likely to engage and participate. Demonstrations transmit the big picture to a group in a short period of time, more instructor centered, useful for teaching skills or situations that are difficult to fully explain through verbal description, and it should not exceed 20 minutes to keep the audience's attention. Questioning, the best way to evoke a response from an audience is by asking good questions. Learner becomes more actively involved. The give and take of the questioning session will take more time than straight lecture. Ask challenging opening questions. Ask uncluttered questions. Make sure the questions are crafted at a level the students are prepared to understand. Role play. So, in role play, brings the students into a lesson and encourages them to become part of the learning and teaching. Effective with very young children, is difficult to use in large groups. So, with role playing, just gets everybody involved, more of that hands-on, gets them up and involved in the lesson. Peer and cross age tutoring. Peer tutoring is when both participants peer tutoring is when both participants at the same age or grade level speak on a similar language. Cross age tutoring refers to situations in which the tutor is older than the tutoree, more of the expert. Storytelling can be an effective way, reels the audience into the world of the speaker, must make it relevant to the topic. So if you're gonna tell stories, just make sure that you're staying on the topic and you don't get way off subject. Storytelling can also be a good thing, but it can also lead into the time away from the lesson. You can get way out of your time limits. Brainstorming, fast-paced activity in which groups arrive at answers and solutions by bringing ideas to the table. Draws on the entire group's knowledge and no longer than 5 to 7 minutes. So if you're gonna let a group brainstorm, you gotta keep a time on them. That also can be with small group discussion. It can get kind of out of control because the instructor doesn't have control over that group at that time. They might be off subject or just taking longer than you originally wanted. So put a time limit on it and make sure they stay on track. Multimedia tools, DVDs, videotapes, PowerPoint presentations, audio recordings. Those are ways to keep the group's attention and more polished for your presentation and not be so long. So hands-on experimental learning, one of the most dynamic ways to deliver information, allows the students to take new information and manipulate it, examine, experience, or challenge and test it. Planning and executing take more time. The best method for retention and comprehension. Must meet the following: connection to the learning objectives, age appropriateness, simple and clear directions, focused and purposeful steps, free of extraneous information. So skit, clowns, puppets, magic, and props. So interactions and entertainment. So again, trying to get people, especially as the younger age groups, getting them involved, getting them something to do hands-on. Like we said, they're listening, but they're also active. So if you can give them something to do or something to engage with, they're going to learn and pick that information up. So interactions and entertainment. People are receptive, relaxed, and ready to learn when enjoying a production. And a lot of work and planning goes into those things. Fairs, open houses, and community events. We do some of these, but this is a great way to reach your community or reach those demographics that you're trying to reach. They create large groups, can be drawn to the events, takes time to plan activities. Short span of having the students' attention. So if you have, they'll draw in a lot of people in your community, but obviously they take a lot of time to plan, and possibly you'll need financial support. You'll need props, the people to do it. So depending on what you do, if you had a bounce house or a clown or something, you're only going to have a short span to speak to those students and stuff. So make sure you have a clear message and you get it out to them, because you're probably only going to have their attention for just a couple minutes before they're going to be off. So if you guys want, this to be a good breaking point, take another 10-minute break, and we'll meet back at 11:40.
that's what I thought. I just didn't know if there was like another one. And I don't want to put like teaching in there because I already like
Right,
instruct.
that's what I was looking, you had
Yeah, like,
training and stuff in there.
so I'm just gonna put mentoring and disciplining, which that's spelled wrong. I apologize. Because like disciplining is kind of like, it's not like, I'm not meaning it where like you do this wrong, I'm gonna write you.
Right.
I mean it like you mentor them and then like when they mess up, you're like, hey, but we could have done this. But I guess that's kind of mentoring.
Right.
Like, hey, the next time
I mean,
this
I
would
was
be
gonna
this
say like
hard.
guiding, but that's
Yeah,
the same thing.
Yeah.
All that stuff kind of,
falls into the same category.
yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. I tried my hardest on it. I tried to like follow.
Well, if that's the best you can do, I guess.
Yeah, that's the best I got. So I went off my other one. I was looking at my other one. I was like, what am
this next section, we're gonna do an activity. And we're gonna get you guys involved here. I got some handouts for you. They'll be passed out. So, for activity number one, so we're gonna break you guys into groups, 3 or 4, and we're gonna give you a scenario. The groups will properly demonstrate in the front of the class a public education program for the appropriate age group given. The program shall be 5 to 10 minutes in length. So the groups in here will just stay in the 3 groups of 2 people. So if you guys got your partner, group number 1, I guess we'll start here. You guys are going to be smoke alarms. Group number 2, you're going to be stop, drop, and roll. And group number 3 is going to be trips and fall hazards. So for scenario 1, your department has been requested to demonstrate the importance of smoke alarms and smoke alarm replacement to a group of adults at their local HOA meeting. Okay. So group number 2, stop, drop, and roll. Your department has been requested to conduct a stop, drop, and roll lesson at a local preschool. Scenario 3, trips and fall hazards. Your department has been requested to attend a local assisted living facility and discuss with the residents about trips and fall hazards. Okay, so got some handouts specific to those items. So here's some handout materials on those subjects. If we want, we'll take 15 minutes and you guys can work in your group and put together your presentation. So 5 to 10 minute presentation of what you would talk about if you were to go to those places. Okay, any questions about that?
So in the presentation, do you want us demonstrating as we would for the class?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get started.
Got it.
You got what?
Done. I know what to do. Huh? Oh, I'm just gonna go in order. I already remember all of it.
Go ahead. Let me see it. What you did.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so if everybody's ready to get started again, we'll pick up where we left off right before lunch. So we got your presentations passed out, so everybody has their student manual, and you have your handouts for your activity 1. So if you guys want to take your 15 minutes and go ahead and write those presentations, and then we'll call each group up to present them for a 5 to 10 minute presentation. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Mid-County, stand by for Tones Medical with Spring Pines Drive.
I'm assuming they'll take that.
I thought I heard the doors open back up downstairs.
We got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Sorry.
I don't know how to play anything. Hmm? Stand up, but
Mid-County, Station 1, respond medical emergency 110 with Spring Pines Drive, Unit A, Adams. 110 with Spring Pines Drive, Unit A, Adams. For a 78-year-old female complaining of abdominal pain and trouble breathing, your time 1306, if you can try to touch the spring. 918 zero. 918 1306.
you doing knocked out presentation by yourself.
Yep. Just like public speaking.
Are you good at public speaking?
I had to take him from a whole college class, so. And I'm now Luke,
I always get awkward when I have to talk in front of people.
he's like, this is as big as my classroom.
I just don't like all that has on.
This classroom, or like the amount of people
The
in
amount of
there?
people.
Yeah, my graduating class is like 15 people.
You and I had literally 36 people in my graduating class. So,
Classroom was kind of big.
no.
Probably pretty popular.
My brother had like one of those mouse classes and they have like 20 something in their class. There's a hole in that pocket.
Alright, we'll take just a couple more minutes to finish up, and then we'll get started on our presentation. Alright, is everybody ready? Okay. If you guys are ready, we'll have group number 1 come up. Great.
Smoke alarms. Why smoke alarms are important. Here's some reasons. They can alert you of a possible fire. If you're sleeping, it can wake you up. You might not notice that there's fire or smoke. It gives your fire department a good chance on knocking that fire down, especially if everyone's sleeping. So about how it works is 3 loud continuous beeps means that it detects fire or smoke. And how to test it, you just hold it down and it'll start beeping, and then you just click it once for it to stop. Let's see.
Should we click it ourselves, or should we let the fire department?
Well, if you're testing it, but also another one of my points that I haven't brought up yet is that if you're having trouble with a smoke detector, you should be able to call your local department to come over and look at it, and they should be able to figure it out. And another section on that is if it's chirping, the batteries are probably needing replaced, or its lifespan is probably going out. They usually have 10-year lifespans. So after 10 years, all detectors must be replaced. And it's also important, especially for like younger members of your family, to tell them what it means. Like if they're 1, 2, 3, maybe they haven't learned that in school yet, just tell them, that means fire or smoke, so get out of the house and stay out.
It's also very important to make sure that your smoke alarms meet the needs of everybody in your house, whether that means hearing disabilities or physical disabilities. For hearing disabilities, you can install a bedside alert device, so it'll be closer to you while you are sleeping. There's also the vibrating mattress for people who are deaf, so that way when your smoke alarm goes off, it will still alert you while you're asleep. Make sure with physical disabilities, whether it be vision impairment or anything like that, that you keep your mobility devices beside your bed, whether it be glasses, walker, cane, wheelchair. Keep your exit pathways clear of any debris. Make sure they're well lit so that way you can see a clear path out.
Oh, I kind of remember that, but obviously, if it's going off, go outside and call 911 and stay outside. Don't go back in the house. Just let the fire department come here and take care of it.
One difference between smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms, your smoke alarm will have the 3 loud beeps, which means smoke or fire. The carbon monoxide will have the 4 loud beeps, which means carbon monoxide is present.
Right, and a chirp every 30 to 60 seconds means that the battery, again, for the CO alarms must be replaced. They also have a end of life sound that says that they'll vary between manufacturer. But yeah, that's the difference between the two.
So if we don't have gas in our house, like propane or anything like that, we just need the fire alarm, right? We don't need the CO.
Yeah, but you never know. You never know what could happen. I mean, if you don't have any propane, probably not. But yeah. Cool.
Are there any other questions?
For the CO alarm,
Yeah.
do I put it up on the ceiling just like the fire alarm? Or the smoke detector, I mean.
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Alright, thank you. Okay, group number 2.
So, we are talking about what you should do if your clothes catch on fire, and it's called the stop, drop, and roll method.
Okay, is anyone familiar with stop, drop, and roll? Okay, so we have a few people. Okay, so basically the stop, drop, and roll method is built around the fire triangle. Does anybody know what the fire triangle is?
Can you explain it to us?
So the fire triangle needs fuel, heat, and oxygen. So if your clothes were to catch on fire, that's our fuel right there. So that's why this is so important, because we're gonna try to smother the fire before it has the chance to catch all of your clothes, and then that would result in burns and that sort of thing, and that wouldn't be any fun. Very painful. So fuel, heat, and oxygen. So the first thing is stop, drop, and roll is stop. Does anybody know why?
Is it because the wind's gonna make that fire bigger?
It's gonna fuel the heat, and then the hotter it gets, the faster it's gonna burn.
Okay.
So if we stop instead of running around, we're not feeding that fire any oxygen. So instead of, like, if running and moving, it's gonna blow against that, and we're just gonna feed it, and it's just gonna travel, spread super fast because it's hot at this point. And then the second step is, we're gonna drop. So we're gonna drop to the ground. Lucas is gonna demonstrate for us. Feet straight out, perfect. And then you're gonna cover your mouth and your eyes with your hands. And the reason we do that, we get down low and lay flat, and that minimizes the surface area that's exposed to the flames and reduces oxygen getting to the fire above. So if I'm standing up and my pant leg catches on fire down here, it's just gonna travel up, right? So by laying down, it kind of minimizes as to where it could travel, and it's got all this surface area here on me. On Lucas, it might try to travel up, but he'll have enough time to be able to roll and put that out because we've minimized the surface area there. And then we cover our face or our eyes and our mouth because we want to try to prevent burns like for our lungs, but then also our eyes and our mouth and our faces. We don't want any burns there, and then hopefully we'll also minimize the potential for our hair catching on fire, because that would be very painful as well. So then we're gonna roll. That's step 3 is roll. So we're gonna roll back and forth. And by rolling repeatedly, we're gonna smother the fire by pressing it against the ground, cutting off its oxygen source. Covering your face, again, just protects your hair and your eyes and your mouth to try to prevent burns. But by rolling like that, we're literally just, because if Lucas has got fire on his arm here and he rolls it against the ground, it smothers it. It literally can't get any oxygen. There's no heat there. He's just putting it out. That's it. And then you want to do step 4 there. There's some takeaways.
So the key takeaways we had from the stop, drop, and roll method is the purpose is to extinguish the fire that's on you by stop, dropping, and rolling, and smothering that fire out. You only use the stop, drop, and roll method if your clothes are on fire. And after you perform the stop, drop, and roll method and you are safely out of the situation that caught you on fire, you should find a trusted adult or a parent to seek out medical attention for any burns that you may have.
Okay, and then in concluding, does anybody have any questions at all? No? Okay, so again, we just want to go over the stop, drop, and roll is only for whenever your clothes catch on fire. It is not for any other injuries you might have or burns. This is just for your clothes catching on fire. Another good way to prevent this is to stay away from kid-free zones. So whether that be at school or at your house, if your parents have set up areas where certain utilities get hot and they don't want you around there, or maybe you know, a burn pit at the house and you're supposed to stay so far away from that, or a fireplace or something like that. Yeah.
Why would you stop, drop, and roll over just taking your clothes off? Could that make it burn faster?
It could, and then you could be bringing, depending on what you're taking off, you could be bringing a fire to an area that could injure you.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen it happen before. My buddy's caught on fire. Instinctively, he decided to take his shirt off instead of just stop, drop, and roll.
You
And
think
it caught
he'd be-
the back of his head on fire.
So if he just stopped, drop, and roll, it would have been over quicker.
Yep, it
Yep.
would have been fine.
You just putting it out instead of potentially spreading that to another area to
Right.
be injured. Another one, obviously, this kind of goes without saying, but don't play around fire. And then if you avoid fire, that decreases your chance for your clothes catching on fire. And stay away from hot things. That's another good one. So with close, does anybody have any questions at all before we close? Okay, I think that's it.
I just go down.
Yeah, I mean, if you got it.
Oh, I got it. Hello, my name is Clay. I'm going to be talking to you about tripping and fall hazards. This is mainly for the older people. The younger people, this won't help as much. So, first one is going to be exercise regularly. You want to keep your body in shape. So if you're just sitting on the couch, we've all seen it, someone who sits on the couch and they stand up, their body gets weak over time, so the longer they sit down or lay down. That's why we always recommend people over 65 to always stay in shape, always keep their body moving so they still have that strength down below. Second one is, oh, you got a question?
Yeah, so like my grandma, obviously she's in her 70s.
Yeah.
So what's the recommend? Because obviously they're not going to be moving around as much as us.
Mhm.
So is it just like as simple as taking a walk every day?
Yeah, taking a walk, being on a treadmill. I see it all the time at gyms. People walk on treadmill for 20 minutes a day will help.
Okay.
Yeah, just anything, even like just simple dumbbells while just standing up will help for 10 minutes.
Just anything to keep them
Yeah,
somewhat active.
yeah.
Okay.
Second thing is taking your time. So if you're getting out of bed, you know how you get dizzy super quick. Sometimes when you just immediately wake up and stand up, you gotta limit that. So take your time. Sit up in your bed before you stand up. If you're like sitting on your couch and you hear your your bell ring at the front door, don't just immediately start trying to rush to the front door as if your grandkids are just there waiting. It could be something not as important. So take your time. You don't want to fall over a wrinkled rug. That would make you trip and fall, and all of a sudden you can't get up and you have to call a fire department or EMS to help you up. Next, and with that, keep your pathways clear. So anywhere you can see, don't have clothes hanging around. So just like a wrinkled floor mat, you don't want to have it just all wrinkled up to where you can fall over. Just pick up anything that you can that you can see as a hazard before it happens. So then with that, you want to have, I would recommend with these outlets, you can buy like lights that are like $8 on Amazon. You can just put them up at anywhere that's dark, so you can always have a way to walk, especially at night. So that goes with another thing. If it's at night, always turn on your lights, even if you know you can do it. You know, it's not like we're kids back then where we're trying to hide food upstairs. You want to always have a visual cue on what's going in front of you. And when it comes to showering, I would recommend getting a non-slip mat. So those mats you see that usually it's at every other phone. You want to have that installed so you don't fall, because a lot of us fall in the shower no matter what age we are. And I always have always install like a hand handle. That's also very cheap on Amazon. So you can like one of those sit down chairs. That's very handy for when you get older. You always just stand down.
So can I only get that stuff on like Amazon or?
You can get it at Amazon, Lowe's. Pretty sure Walmart has it too.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the lights as well.
Yeah, lights as well as at Walmart and the electronic aisle.
So you recommend like the hallways and like maybe by the stairs? And
Hallways and stairs is heavily recommended.
Okay.
Yeah. And like be aware of uneven surfaces. So like if you're going to take your trash out or get the mail, always watch your step to see if there's any cracks in the road in your driveway that would cause you to fall. A lot of times your stairs, sometimes you just don't know that's uneven, and you take one step down and you all of a sudden you're all the way on the ground. That's pretty huge. And when it comes to shoes, never have something that's like slippers. People always wear slippers because it's easy to put on and off, but they're super slippery. Always recommend something that has a rough bottom on it so you don't fall every second that you put them on. I see it all the time where people are on slippers and all of a sudden one of their slippers is missing because they fell on the foot.
So what about like Crocs and stuff? Would that be okay, or is that kind of a hazard?
If it has a bottom that's like very rough and can attach to the floor easy, I would recommend it. Sometimes those socks that like you see at the hospital that have the grips on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why they also have those at hospitals, because they can help you not slip and fall. And then if you have medication, always have that available, and communicate with your doctors about if you're experiencing any symptoms such as dizziness, and always communicate with the doctors, especially EMS if they're on scene. If you ever call and you fell down, always provide that information. So in conclusion, always exercise, keep your path clean and seeable, always communicate with your doctors, wear stuff that isn't slippery, just prevent fall damage from happening. Any questions?
If you do fall, is there anything that you can have on you? Maybe if you can't reach your phone, that you can call EMS.
You can always get the necklace that has the emergency button, so you press it and send it right to their dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
Send out to the local EMS.
What's it? Life Alert?
Life Alert.
Okay.
It's one of them, yeah.
Cool.
I don't think so.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to be talking to you guys today about escape planning for your house. So, whenever we're in our house, we all know where our bedroom is, right? Because we sleep there every night. Do you know how to get from your bedroom to your front door? Pretty easily, right? We can do it every day. We do it every day when we're going to school. But when you're in an emergency situation and you're panicked, you're not going to know where to go. So it's good to make a plan with your family so you know how to get out of your house from certain rooms that you're in and then where to meet afterwards. So in case of an emergency, we can all meet at a tree or a mailbox or the neighbor's yard and do a head count. So the same way when we do a fire drill here at school, you can do that at your house. So when everybody exits, your mom or dad might make sure that all of your siblings are there and have all of the kids accounted for and the pets and things like that. So when you make a plan, you want to have a sketch of your house. So you can draw little boxes to make how your house is laid out. You can make it as detailed as you want or as simple as you want. And then you're going to need to know where to go. So sometimes we can't get out a door, so you might have to go to a window. So you need to know which windows you can escape out through and which ones you can't. If you're on like a second story, it's going to be a little bit harder to go out that window because it's so high up. So you want to know where you're going and things like that. Also, it's always good to sleep with your bedroom door closed in case of a fire. That's going to be a protection for you to get in and out. And if you do hear smoke alarms going off and you remember your escape plan and which direction you need to go, always check your door first. If it's hot, then you can't go out the door, so then you need to have a secondary escape plan from your bedroom. And where's the best way to get out of our bedroom without the door? The window. Good job. Who has a bedroom on a first floor? How many of you have a bedroom that's on the first floor? Almost all of you. Who has a bedroom on the second floor? Perfect. So would you be able to get out your second floor window?
With injuring myself, yeah.
Okay, so we always want to make sure if we can get out, we try to get out. If not, we notify the firefighters that are coming that we are there. So one option is obviously your door is going to be closed, so you can open up your window and you can throw all of your toys and stuffed animals and everything that's bright and colorful, throw it out your window and make a big pile outside. So when us as firemen come up to your window and we see, why are all these kids' precious toys in the yard? And we can look up in the window and see you, and we know where to find you because you've identified to us what room you're at. And then when you guys leave for the day, always use different ways. So does your mom always make you go out the front door when you go to school? Most of the time, yes. So maybe tomorrow you say, can we go out the back door to see how I would get to the car from the back door? And then you can go around the back door side and figure out different ways like that. And then whenever you are trying to go outside when there's an emergency like a fire, we always want to get down low. When you guys make a campfire, where does all the smoke go? Up, right? So in a house fire, it's the same thing. The smoke is going to be really high above your head, so the lower you can get down to the ground, the more space you can see and get out, and the less smoke you guys will have to breathe in. It's also good if you practice your escape plan to crawl out, because crawling is going to be a lot different than walking when you walk out of your house. And then we talked about smoke alarms, so always know what the smoke alarms are. And then make sure your whole family knows your plan, right? Don't just make up this plan in your head and then your mom's like, where's little Timmy at? let your whole family know so you can all be on the same page. Okay.
So, do we need different plans, like, for every scenario, or are we just practicing with the same exit routes, like for, like you said, smoke, or if we were to have a fire inside, versus any other emergency, are we just using the same plan and routes, just different scenarios we can practice?
Yes, you can practice with the different scenarios because obviously you're not always going to need to leave your house in the case of an emergency. If there's a tornado, we don't want to go outside, right? We want to go to a bathroom or a stairwell, something that's going to protect us. So with your family, you could think of the different kinds of hazards you would have in your home where you live. But for fire prevention purposes, we like to have an escape plan for you to be able to get out of your house, and multiple different ways. So you know, if I can't get through the door that I always walk through, I can go through this window, or I can take this hallway and exit through the back door, something like that. So it's always good to talk with your parents and figure out what type of emergencies might happen in your home, and then what we can do to prevent those and or escape and get to safety when those things do happen. Does anybody have a question?
What's the best way to check if my door's hot?
The best way to check if your door is hot, you guys know when you go to touch the stove and you can feel the heat coming off of it? When you go to grab your door handle, you can feel the heat, or if you grab your door handle and it's hot, that it's probably something super hot on the outside. Most of the time you'll be able to feel the heat coming through the door. So then you can decide on your exit strategy after that.
Is that
Yes.
something that we should add into our fire drills? Like if we can't get in, or if we can't get out of our room, should we practice that too? What we should do in that circumstance?
Yeah, it's always a good idea to practice, just in case something were ever to happen. You guys can be prepared to know what to do next if you weren't able to exit in your original way that you planned to exit. And the best thing is, if you can't figure out a way and you can't find out where you're going, to stay put where you are. Your family's gonna know the last place you were. If you were in your bedroom, we know to come looking for you in your bedroom. So if everything else fails and you can't find a way to get out, keep that bedroom door closed and stay put where we know where your family knew you were last. Thank you.
Good job, everybody, on your presentations, and thank you for your participation. For this next step, I kind of want to go back and watch a couple videos I have. The first one's going to be over the domain of learning. We'll go to it. Give me a second to get it pulled up.
In our professional development design, let's review other adult involves our physicality and how that develops from basic motor skills to intricate performance. How do the domains of learning impact professional development? Each domain represents a continuum of processes that begins with the most simple and ends with the most complex process. When designing and developing professional development events, keep in mind that the audience will be comprised of adults. Most adults have mastered lower order processes in each of the domains, such as recall of information in the cognitive domain, listening and paying attention in the affective domain, and demonstrating mechanical skill, such as using a computer, in the psychomotor domain. To successfully engage the audience, events must be designed to reach participants on their level, which means going beyond the basic process and challenging them on higher order processes such as troubleshooting, prioritization, and adaptation. The three domains are often attributed to Benjamin Bloom, an educational psychologist who edited the text Taxonomy of Educational Objectives, the classification of educational goals. This is often referred to as Bloom's taxonomy. Now that we understand the application of learning domains in our professional development design, let's review other adult learning theories that can be applied to help effective professional development events. Before we explore adult learning theory, let's review what is professional development. Professional development, commonly referred to as PD, is a systematic process that strengthens how professionals obtain and retain knowledge, skills, and attitudes. It consists of intentionally designed processes and activities developed to improve organizational approaches. The CDC professional development practices are based on research and previously identified best practices that provide optimal conditions for implementation to occur. As you'll recall from PD 101, there are 6 professional development practices. Sustain a professional development infrastructure, design professional development offerings, market professional development services, deliver professional development, provide follow-up support, and evaluate professional development processes. Although not a completely regimented process, the PD practices do follow a logical flow from one practice to the next. They create the framework for providing professional development offerings. Professional development offerings follow a systematic process from planning to evaluation. Offerings
gonna be a video over Blom's
Its
top.
most popular version
top
is
line.
based on the cognitive domain and assumes that learning should be structured from easy to difficult in the following 6 steps. 1. Remember. 2. Understand. 3. Apply. 4. Analyze. 5. Evaluate. 6. Create. On the first level, we learn to remember. There is just rote memorization and recollection of facts without much understanding. For example, if we learn about lemons, we want to remember the name, shape, color, size, and that they are sour. Once we memorize these essentially meaningless facts, we move to the second level of learning. On level 2, we learn to understand. We begin to decode information and learn that a lemon is yellow when it's ripe to eat, and if we take a bite, then it's really super sour. We also understand that lemons love sunshine and that they contain lots of vitamin C, which is a great natural antioxidant that keeps us healthy. Now, as we really understand a lemon, we can work with it. On the third level, we apply what we know. We've understood that while lemons are sour, they are also a great provider of vitamin C. To apply this knowledge in a meaningful way, we could boil a lemon into hot water and add some honey. Then serve this hot lemon to our sick sister who's in need of treatment. On the fourth level, we learn to analyze. This involves examining and breaking down information into components, determining how the parts relate to one another, and finding evidence to support generalizations. We study the lemon flesh, examine the skin, and look at levels of vitamins. We conclude that we can eat everything inside, while the skin tastes bitter and contains traces of toxic pesticides. It ought not to be consumed. Now we are ready to evaluate. We analyze, critique, and compare. To evaluate our lemon as a good source of vitamins, we compare it to other sources, such as oranges and supplements. We look at the following properties: vitamin levels, affordability, taste, and packaging waste. If we evaluate our thoughts critically and without bias, we learn where the lemons score high and where others score higher. Now, after we have learned, understood, applied, analyzed, and evaluated, we are ready to create. As we now really understand lemons, also in comparison to similar things, we can formulate a plan to create our own natural lemonade. It's now easy to come up with a cute shop design, a good name, and a good slogan: natural, healthy, yummy. Bloom's taxonomy was first created in 1946 by American psychologist Benjamin Bloom. The revised version from 2001, as just presented, serves as the backbone of many teaching philosophies, in particular those that aim towards teaching specific skills. Each level usually comes with a clear learning objective that can be tested. Critics of the taxonomy often question the existence of a sequential, hierarchical link between each level. What are your thoughts? Please share them in the comments below.
kind of tied together what we were talking about earlier, the presentation, and just kind of help you guys understand that a little bit better than maybe the way I presented it. So, with that, I have one more video here. And hopefully this will tie together. How many of you guys have been at a school or preschool and done a presentation for the kids, whether it's over smoke alarms, stop, drop, and roll, or anything like that? A couple of you guys? Good. This here, this video will help tie all those things together that we talked about. So it's actually a 46-minute presentation. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We'll probably watch 15-20 minutes of it. But this will kind of tie all those things together about how to work with the kids and deliver information specifically to that age group. So we'll get started. I said we'll do about 15-20 minutes of it, and then we'll get finished up.
That sulking's a lot of fun, but we learn a lot too. We learn that if our clothes ever catch on fire, we've got to stop what we're doing and we've got to cover our face up so we don't get it burned and then we lay on the ground and we roll around until the fire's put out. Right. Hey, guys, I've been meaning to talk to y'all about something since I come through the door. What is it? Did you guys
I think that this school is possessed by the kitchen. What's weird about it is, I say it, and then all these kids are in our kitchen. What are y'all doing in our kitchen? Hey, yeah, okay. You said it was bird, huh? Yeah. That's one weird looking bird. Yeah. Is that a quail? No. Is it a duck? No. Is it a pigeon? Is it a barn swallow? I don't think so. Is it a killdeer?
So hopefully that video just kind of shows you guys how you take different information and tie it together specific to a certain age group, and just a good demonstration.
Were those guys actually firemen for that department that dressed up like clowns?
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, after watching that, I felt like, ours isn't terrible. But, if you guys want, we've been at it a little bit over an hour. Let's take a quick 10-minute break, and then when we come back, we'll do a test review, and then we'll be done. Sound good? Again, as I said, I appreciate you guys sitting through this and taking this class today. And if there is any questions or anything you guys come up with, my information's on the board. You guys can reach out to me and get a hold of me. So let me go ahead and pass these tests out and we'll start the review. Alright, we'll kind of just go through this as a group. So we'll just do this as a group, but we won't do the answer. We're just gonna go over the test, and then you guys will take the test individually. So, question 1, the 3 domains of learning. So, question 2, the high risk fire and life safety age groups fire service serves. So that one there, you just want to remember the 2 highest risks. Number 3, summarize each of the 5 groups of fire service within the community. So that one, just those the 5 age groups. Number 4, why is the evaluation necessary for fire and life safety education? Number 5, list the types of evaluations. Number 6, connect each of the 5-step planning process to the appropriate items for each step. And number 7, all evaluations are collected data unless they are interpreted correctly and accurately. Number 8, blank law is if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Number 9, list the 3 learning styles. Number 10, match the teaching methods and strategies with their definitions. And that one, that'll be the last one. So, any questions before we get started? Alright, let's go ahead and start.